In this video, we're going to be working with layers in the timeline. Every Flash project, we have been given one layer and one key frame, or one frame. And that means that we don't really have any time on the timeline. We just have one frame, and it's as if it's a static picture or a page. When we add assets to the stage, what I want to be doing next is to add layers. We like to separate each and every asset that we bring in to separate layers unless they're being moved or put together. So I want to add new assets, and I want to add each one onto a separate layer. This can be done a couple of different ways. In the drop-down menu at the top, there's an Insert selection. So you want to go to Insert, then select Timeline, and then Layer. This gives us another layer in the timeline, and they stack one on top of each other. When we're looking at the stage, it's as if they are stacked one thing on top of each other, just like they are their layers. So layer 2 is actually empty. And you can see in the timeline there's another new frame, and the frames are in the form of a little square with a dot. This one has nothing on it, and so the dot is empty. I'm going to rename this layer. I'm going to bring in a photo, and so I rename it Photo 1. Okay, and then I'd like to bring in another photo or asset into my project. This time I want to import this right directly to the stage. So File, Import, and then Import to Stage. Navigate to the folder that you want, which is our Start folder. Select a photo, open, and it recognizes that there is a series of photographs because they are numbered. Do you want to import all of the images in the sequence? If I click yes, then I'm going to have them each on a different frame in the timeline. If I click yes, let's take a look at that. And that means that I have each and every frame in this layer having a different photo. It brought all of the photos in. And you can see here we've got our little scrubber bar. That actually shows us what frame we're on. And when I push those over, then the picture changes because they're in a different frame. In other words, a different time on the timeline. This is not necessarily what I want to do. And so I'd like to undo that. Okay, so I'm going to have to undo a couple of times. Control or Command Z to undo. Okay, so it's empty. Another thing that I could do, just to import these, import to stage one at a time in this manner to open. No, I don't want to do what we did before, so there's one thing on the stage. Okay, importing it to the stage does not mean that I don't have it captured in the library. I actually do. Right here in the library, here's the next photo, and you can see here, we can see our asset currently in the library. All right, another way to do this, and we have not done it in the book, this is just one of those additional ways. Okay, I'm going to undo this as well. Command or Control Z to get rid of. And I'd like to import all of those pieces together. So File, Import, Import to Stage. And what I'd like to do is import all 4 photos at the same time. If I select the first one and hold down my Shift key, and then select the last one, I highlight and select all of them. And then I can select Open. What that does is put all of those pictures, one on top of the other, into the photo, into this layer, one on top of the other. Okay, if I were to click away from my selected pictures, which you deselect, you click in an empty spot, okay, and I can click and drag, and you can see here I've got all these pictures. Okay, I'm going to undo that. All right. And what I'd like to do is select everything, except I want to deselect my background. Or you can select the time frame, select the frame, and everything in that frame will be selected. Okay, so I can move them all as a group. Next, what I'd like to do is distribute these to different layers, and in doing so all at once, then that saves me time. You can do that by right-clicking and selecting somewhere down in the middle, Distribute to Layers. And what that does is it distributes everything and puts a new layer for each and every piece. Okay, so we see here it's done its job. It also took and named every single layer, okay, according to the assets we put on it. And each frame has a dot in it, meaning it contains one piece or an asset of sorts. And then the original layer is emptied out, so we have an extra layer. Okay, I'm going to trash that layer, and down here at the bottom, yeah, we have where we can trash, if I can show it to you. Way at the bottom, trash. Okay, it's not showing very well. So I want to click and drag that layer and throw it in the trash. No, it's not going to do it for me. Clearly, there we go, it deleted. So you can drag it, or you can right-click. Right-clicking does a lot of things good for us, okay, and you can trash something. Okay, so now I have pictures in the library for each and every photo. And they're each and every one on a layer.